Hello and welcome to Health360 Plus. I'm Sneha Mordani, and like every week, this week too, we picked up a relevant health topic concerning all of us this week, and we're going to talk about it in detail. My guests with me are today, Revant is with us. Revant is a health coach, also Dr. Arun Gupta, Chirag Barjatyaa. Chirag is the founder of PFC Club Online Fitness Coaching, and Dr. Arun Gupta, as we all know, is a well-known pediatrician and associated with NAPI, is an activist who works in the area of nutrition. And Revant, of course, is a health coach and does reels on health and fitness and also food habits and what we are consuming and what we should not be consuming. Thank you so much, all of you, for connecting with us. And viewers, this is a session in which you can throw in your questions and do point out to which guest is which question so that they can also answer your questions. Now, this week, what really happened was that a video was doing the rounds, and it basically put out the idea of whether or whether not, before all of us, health drinks are actually healthy or not. Do your children need that added powder in a glass of milk? Well, there are a billion opinions about it, essentially. And what really should be the way forward? Does it give an added nutrition value to your child? This is a conversation that we've had in the past as well about additives, about the ingredients in packaged foods and whether they're actually harmful and they should not be given to children, and you also should not be consuming them. That really is our topic of discussion this week. I'm going to begin by bringing in Dr. Arun Gupta first, who's worked in this area for years and years together, as we all know. Dr. Gupta, you've appeared on India Today in the past as well, and we've discussed this in greater detail. Simple question that a lot of parents are asking. एक glass दूध, उसमें क्या डालनी चाहिए? What should the child be consuming?
I think the question, I think the people have been used to putting something for changing color or taste or something. That's why people are asking this question.
True.
So to my mind, in the context of the health drink, the so-called health drink, I think it's a wrong name given to these powders which are being put in. So the parents actually should use a little bit of sugar at home, and which a little bit of sugar is not bad for the child also. That could be used in the milk, and that is the best way to go about that. You don't need this powerful or whatever you can say is making your bones strong or your heart strong or whatever it is. There are so many strengths associated which are projected. So this, I would suggest to parents not to read the front of the pack labels of industrial food products, which are claims which they cannot verify. So it's better to rely on your milk, which is one of the best foods on earth.
Okay. So what I want to ask you is this, then I'm going to go to Revant and Chirag also. How is that if they are FSSAI approved essentially? Why is that these claims may or may not be true, and there are question marks now being put on many of these products as we all know them? Why would the FSSAI give a clearance to a product that says that we make a child taller, when all if you say that that product has got nothing to do with the child's growth?
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. That the technical side is different than the health side, right? So when the regulations are made, the words are written, so many
recording in progress.
So there are so many influences which are there on the governments from the food industry that right this way or that way. And I've been in this field for last 40 years now, in terms of when we got into the baby food law, and then this drafting is a very, very clever thing. So the words used, the commas used. So I'm not getting into that at all, which saves the company legally. For example, if you go to court, the company might be saved legally by the use of the legal language. But in terms of health, I can safely say that the contents of the current available industrial, ultra-processed health food or drinks are not healthy for us as human beings, and they're not healthy for our children too.
Okay, okay. Chirag, what are the ingredients that you would want to flag off in these drinks? Because a lot of people are asking what exactly is unhealthy in that particular ingredient list.
So, Sneha, as per me, only the quantities call it unhealthy or healthy about
Okay,
these drinks.
okay, okay.
If you are using like a spoon every day in just a glass of milk, that's about it, one small spoon, then it's perfectly fine and it's perfectly safe. But if your kid is drinking or you are drinking like 10 spoons every day, then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Can I say something on this?
Yes, sorry, was that Revant?
Yeah.
Yes, Revant, I was in fact coming to you only, but good you intervened. Please add on.
Just on that one spoon point is that the problem is that often when we put one spoon, many children add one spoon of sugar on top of that.
True.
And also people are not having milk once a day. Often people have it morning and evening. So it already adds up. If you add one spoon of sugar both times and you add one spoon of the particular drink, then it all adds up. And also that is not the only source of sugar. People are also having ketchup. People are also having cereals. People are also having a lot of other things which all add up. So if you were just having one spoon of that one thing, possibly it could be good. But if you add up everything all together, it adds up a lot every day.
Yes, that's my whole thing. And to tell all of you that I have a 6-year-old, and it's a challenge to keep the child away from just so many things which in an ideal world, I wouldn't even want her to know about. Forget letting her consume it. So I agree with you, Revant, on that point. That it's not just that one thing. Throughout the day, there are just so many opportunities for the child to consume processed food, and that's where the problem really is. And there is just so much access, Chirag, to processed food. Don't you think that really is a big problem? I've seen you and your work around the processed food and the kind of things that you have to say about added sugar in processed food products, Chirag.
Yeah, definitely, it's a problem. If you eat anything outside, and especially your kids, like they are going out eating McD's, eating ice creams, chocolates, everything is sugar. But then it's your responsibility to teach the child about the quantities and the moderation. And if your child is crossing the limits, then definitely it's a problem. And in my opinion, in my team's opinion, it's the parents' habits which kids pick up. If you are eating into moderation, your kids will copy the same thing.
I agree with you on that front. Yes. Was that Revant?
No, me, myself.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to put a fact on the, for the purpose of educating our viewers and all.
Okay.
Now it's very hard, Chirag, to define moderation, right? So, I mean, for adults also, alcohol in moderation, earlier people used to say about cigarettes also. All my life I've seen. So I've grown up seeing all this. So the point is the new science of ultra-processed food tells us the story very clearly. I didn't know about it 10 years back, right? I know a lot now that in the last 5 years, there have been 1,400 papers on the risks of ultra-processed foods. So it goes so by mathematically speaking. If you increase your ultra-processed food intake by 10% of your daily intake, which for an adult would be 200 calories,
Okay.
that increases the chances of diabetes by 15% and the other area. So, passing it off that, okay, one spoon or moderation every day, I think it's also a habit to do. These are all addictive substances, in my opinion.
Yes.
They lead you to consume more. One of the worst side effect of consuming ultra processed food is the food wants you to eat more. That's where I would advisory is to avoid them if they are ultra processed. Now there
definitely,
are so many, just let me finish. There are so many other ingredients. It's not just about sugar I'm talking about emulsifiers, stabilizers. I'm talking about other ingredients which are used for colors or whatever, for flavoring agents, which makes the food hyper palatable. Once a food is hyper palatable, people consume it more. Now, I agree with you. But I won't put the responsibility on the parents because it's driven by high class, aggressive marketing by billions of dollars.
I think it's a
Which
combination.
actually
of both,
creates
Dr.
the
Gupta,
demand.
isn't it? It's parents as well. I think you know what, like from my experiences, what I've seen that you'll basically it's a habit forming. It all at the end of the day boils down to habit forming, and those with younger children would know about it. That if you're introducing a product to your child, the child will get the habit of it. But if you're not introducing, if you're demonizing it from the very beginning of their lives, then I think there will be a tendency to not touch that product. Before I go to Revant, Chirag, if you could just respond to what Dr. Arun has said.
Yeah, so Dr. Arun has said that it makes the food palatable, right? And we have seen in our childhood as well, and we see children as well, they don't like drinking milk. How do you make them drink a glass of milk? That's why these drinks exist. That's about it. We add little bit flavor into the drink and kids end up drinking a glass of milk. That's about it.
Revant, what do you have to say about this? I'm not referring to any particular health drink, but in general, that a little bit of everything is okay. Moderation in general when it comes to processed food, and it's applicable to biscuits, chips, wafers, etc. You know, packaged juices, all of it.
So I have a couple of things to say. One is that if every single morning you're waking up and having either a breakfast cereal, which is also usually like filled with sugar, or one of these drinks, the thing is you're getting a child into a habit of craving sugar right from when they were very young. And that habit stays with you often for like a much longer period, even when you're an adult. Even now, sometimes I'm craving sugar just out of nowhere all the time. And so it's very important, I feel, just to be aware that you may be getting your child into these kind of habits. So that is like one of the issues which I have. And one earlier point which someone had made was that, you know, as someone, if you're eating outside, it's unhealthy, and if you're eating inside your home, it's healthy. And I want to say that what we're eating inside our home also today is often things coming from outside. It's packaged food. So I think there's a very big misconception in our minds of public that if you're eating at home, it's healthy. If you're eating outside, it's unhealthy. Yes, if you're eating outside, it's unhealthy. But if you're eating at home also, because of all these products that we eat, it's also very unhealthy often. So that is like just the 2 points which I wanted to add.
Okay. You know,
Let me add to this.
yes.
Just a minute. I think I can define it like this. The food which is cooked by cooks is healthy. The food which is cooked by engineers is not healthy. So that's a serious issue to discuss, because this I don't agree that you know, child needs to drink milk only by adding something. You know, it's only the first. How did you decide first time? Because you want the child to force drink. If the child doesn't like, don't give him milk. Try. You can try yogurt and made at home.
I'm so glad you say it, Dr. Arun, because a lot of people think it's blasphemy not to give milk to a child. The calcium intake is also met when you're giving.
There are so many ways.
The heat to the child, the lassi, charge, all of that.
Children,
also,
some children love
products. Yes.
Some children love dahi. Some children love paneer. Some children love. It's not necessary. You know, for example, a child gets habituated if a child is on powdered infant formula or infant foods which are like commercially produced during 6 months to 24 months of age. Those children are addicted to these kind of sugary foods right from the time. I agree with what you're saying. So I would like to make a correction as a scientist. All my life, being a pediatrician, I worked with patients directly. From 79 to 94, I have been practicing. Thousands and thousands of parents I have talked to, right? It's not the responsibility of the parents. It's not their fault. Please believe me. It is the environment which is wrong, which makes them do things wrong, which might come from their peers, which might come from company, which is the aggressiveness most. So we have seen this.
Dr. Gupta, how do you absolve parents of the responsibility of introducing these things to the child to begin with?
Because they are
the first to introduce these things.
No, but if as a parent I do not know, I am a doctor also, and I was a parent also, right? My daughter was born in 79, son was born in 81, right?
Right.
The people who delivered them, they pushed infant formula to them. No, I couldn't help. So my point is that how do I blame myself? The point is that what drives that? What is the environment which leads a parent, whether a parent is knowledgeable or not about the sugar content? Let's say simply, you tell me how many parents today know that if a product contains 10% or higher sugar, total sugar, it is unhealthy. So once let them know that, then probably you can say, oh, I educated one fellow, but he or she, I can say that. But when you are blasted, morning to evening, you are blasted, you are bombarded with advertisements which say they are healthy. These are gullible people who are actually forced to.
That's where the role of the government also comes in.
Exactly.
Revant, what should, according to you, Revant, and I'll ask this question to all of you, I'm very interested to know. फिर दूध में क्या मिला के थे? अगर कुछ मिलाना ही है तो, you know what I do? I add honey, and I don't add the honey which is commercially available in the market. Is the most popular product as we know it. But pure honey is what I really look for, and that is something, and I think it's really tasty. And it works. It works for me. I don't know what works for others. Revant, what would you say? If at all you have to add something in the milk.
Yeah, I would, as you said, maybe honey could be an option. Maybe giving a child yogurt, as Dr. Arun pointed out, instead of milk, that would be another option. Anything, as long as, first of all, it's your choice, like, the products like we were talking about, is that there's like a misconception, like, you think it's healthy, like, as long as it was clear labeling that, okay, this is an unhealthy product, and then they still give it, it's fine. But as long as they know what they're getting into.
Okay.
I would also give my child possibly honey, or get the child to drink something else if they're not wanting, and ideally try to get the child to drink milk itself if they're wanting to drink that.
It's not necessary for them to drink milk. That's what even Dr. Arun said. Chirag, what about you? A lot of people even go for good jaggery. What's your take on that?
See, good jaggery and honey, these are another form of sugars only. And
Yes.
you are not benefiting anything out of mixing these things. But yeah, always these things are better than the processed drink powders. But I would prefer, if you can use maybe something like a little bit of jaggery or something like cocoa powder, which is very low in calorie and very less in sugar. And I'm not a parent, but my first advice would be to teach your child the right thing about the milk, and be yourself aware about the harmful effects of such drinks, or shift to yogurt and other form of dairy products.
Okay. We have a question from a viewer. Vaishnu Chaudhary is asking, and it's not directed to anyone, so any of you can please be free to answer it. Can you suggest any drinking powder?
None.
Okay. Dr. Arun, none?
I would say none, because if they are ultra processed, industrially processed powders, then I would say none. If you have your own thing done at home, created a powder of your, for example, I create a powder of say badam and other dry fruits.
Yes.
You can mix that. If you do, the children have to be, if you offer them milk without anything, like even without sugar,
Yes.
right? Their taste buds are developing.
Yes.
So you don't need actually to introduce all this. This is a parental perception. This is a parental perception that you have to add something to, it's like bribing a child. So it's not something needed to bribe a child. We go with the child. See what the child likes. Child doesn't like, sometimes some children like chili in the vegetables, the others don't like. So the health recommendation is that under 2 years, no sugar or no extra sugar or salt is required for the child. Actually, there is a
Dr. Arun,
let
me just tell you one
pediatric.
thing, because you're a pediatrician yourself, and I'm sure you know about this, that popular products are now being even advised by pediatricians. If a parent says, see, my child is, say 6 and is just 14 kilos, I'm just talking about my case, okay, right now.
Yeah.
Then the pediatrician's first thing to do, of my daughter's pediatrician, was suggest a powder. Let me be very honest with you. And I did use that powder, because I was also thinking, here's my daughter, she's very underweight, what to do? What would you have to say about that?
I would say the first point is that when you say underweight, I think I would see the linear growth of the child rather than perceiving the children. it's a general thing that when you meet somebody else in the family, everybody has a tendency to say, "Hey, आप कमजोर लग रहे हो, आपका बच्चा कमजोर लग रहा है." All that is probably a perceived thing. When you complain it to a doctor, you have to see the graph of the child and the height and the weight. Both, are they growing well or not? If they're not growing well, only then you need to intervene and with the dietary modifications, which include giving more proteins if a child needs to grow. If child is really not growing well, which I doubt actually, because unless you see the zero growth from 0 to 6 years, how the graph is going? If the child is growing nicely, then it is not necessary to see other child comparing that child with another child who might be 20 kg because the child was born at 3.5 kg and there is another child who was born at 2.5 kg. This child may be 14 kg.
Yes.
So 15 kg. That's my point. And rather than jumping into a conclusion that a parent complains to me and I will prescribe something that to a medicated powder or a ultra processed powder, I will modify the diet if at all it is the child is not consuming enough. So you require a dietary recall, you require a dietary history, you require to need to know what kind of carb, what kind of protein, what kind of fat the child is consuming.
Right.
Then only you can get.
We have a question. Payal Mishra says, can you suggest a good honey brand? Who's going to answer that? Chirag?
I am not sure if we are supposed to take brand names, but yeah, go for organic thing. Find the source nearby farms or something where the people extract honey by themselves, where you can see the transparency happening. Just don't buy the honey directly from the shelves because most of those honeys, I'm not sure, they are just sugar, not even a honey. They just mix sugar in it.
So viewers, we are not going to be taking some brand name. Now the reason behind this because we are not here to diss some brand and then praise another brand. That's not the idea. In person, I can give a list of 10. So this person, Payal Mishra, my DMs are open. Please do DM me and I'm going to tell you what honey I use for my daughter. But it's exactly in the category of what Chirag is saying. It's sourced locally. And it is not something that I can buy off the shelf. It's not the popular honey products that we see in the market because that's really the worst kind of honey that you can give to your child is what I would say. Parvesh Lochap, is lemon soda good? But Revant, would you want to answer that?
Lemon and just soda by itself.
Yes. Is lemon soda good?
I don't think there's any strong negativity to it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yeah, and I think lemon has a lot of benefits to it. Soda, not necessarily, but if it's just plain soda, then it's pretty decent, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parvesh
If you go by a brand of a lemon soda, then it has a lot of sugars.
I'm not referring to a lemon soda
No, I'm just answering that question to the person what exactly the person asked. If he is asking for a lot of lemon sodas available in the market right now, they are full of sugar.
Yes.
And you are spending a lot of, 10 times higher than buying a nimbu and putting it in a water or a lemon.
Exactly. Yeah. That is something that I never understand. Nimbu pani in a bottle, which is packaged. Why would you do that? Nimbu pani ghar ka bana hua. I mean, and I've tasted it. It tastes awful, doesn't it? I don't know how many have tasted it.
That's called corporatization.
Yeah.
That's called corporatization. Yeah, because you have free water flowing in, and you buy a nimbu which might cost you 1 or 2 rupees, and then once it goes through the industrial processes, the same thing costs you 20 rupees.
It's terrible.
So it's a corporatization.
Terrible. I think all offices, and I'm very proud to say that my office has a beverage junction which offers fresh fruits, fresh nimbu pani, nariyal pani, everything under the sun. Yes, it offers other products as well, but we have the option, Dr. Gupta, to drink a glass of fresh fruit juice that they make in front of you. I think corporates should offer these options to everyone. So I think the answer to that is good old nimbu pani made at home is the best thing to do. Money Pilot, this is a question that Dr. Arun, you must answer. Money Pilot is asking, how much amount of milk is necessary for a 3-year-old child?
How many years old child?
3-year-old.
3 years. No, there is no quantifying milk. A 3-year-old child, to my mind, is like an adult diet child. The child should be consuming. If the family doesn't consume milk, the child may not consume milk. It all depends upon how the dietary habits of the family are. So it's not necessary that you push milk if the child doesn't like. If the child likes, certainly, according to whatever the child likes. So there is no quantity I can put actually in terms of how many ml the child must have.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But sir, there are alternatives, and I think we'll just quickly run over these alternatives. If
Yeah.
not milk, which are the other dairy products that the child can go for?
Now again, I will say the curd yogurt prepared at home, or the lassi, made at home, and then one can go for paneer, cheese prepared at home, which is easier to make. And we are concerned about protein. It's a very good food. I'm not discounting milk. It's a very good food, I am saying. But it depends. If the child likes, then balance it out. Should not, at 3 years, it should not be the dominant food. That's my main message. Is the milk should be okay, but it should not be dominant food. For example, if a parent is drinking tea all the day, the child will never like milk. This is another point I wish to point out to any people who are asking questions. If, for example, if a parent is drinking cola drink or something else all the day, and when it comes to a baby, and the parent tells the baby, okay, guy, it's not good for you. That's lying. The child understands that the parent is lying to him or her. That's very important psychological.
I don't think there is any
Yeah.
major problem in giving the child a little bit of tea. I think that's a misconception.
No
I
major
think it's
problem.
okay to give some tea to the child.
If you can drink anything, then I think a 3-year-old child can drink that.
Okay. Before I move on, because I need to discuss about ingredients in packaged foods, and that's what we are here for. But there are people who are asking these questions. Vaishnu Chaudhary is asking again, is soda good for kids? Who'd like to answer
No.
that?
No, I would not encourage soda drinks too.
No soda.
Yeah, when they say soda, are they meaning like the popular brands Co soda? Then of course not. Like if it's just plain soda, then maybe, but not like soda drinks and things.
I think
So, yeah,
I think
soda,
they're asking about, I have a feeling the question is about aerated drinks. Vaishnu Chaudhary, if you could clarify a little further, we are willing to take more questions. But aerated drinks, I would say, is a complete no, isn't it? All of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Revant, you at the outset you spoke about the fact that there is excessive sugar in a lot of other products apart from health drinks. Of course, we have these chocolates, we have wafers, we have biscuits, we have sugar sprinkled on it, white sugar, poison in my opinion, and also we have ketchup. There are 1 billion sources of sugar. Most people seem to think कि हम तो मिठाई नहीं खाते तो हम तो चीनी खा ही नहीं रहे, हम तो शक्कर खा ही नहीं रहे. But that really isn't the truth, isn't it, Revant?
Exactly. And in my house itself, they make baked samosa because they want to be healthy. And they have it with so much ketchup and they don't realize how much sugar is in the ketchup. Same with a chai. They'll have half a teaspoon of sugar and they'll feel really proud of themselves that I don't have too much sugar with my chai. And then they'll have all this ketchup and packaged juices and all of that, which has if you have one juice once, it just takes away all the effort you've done with chai for like a week. And that is like the issue, is just that you make so much conscious decision to eat healthy and then some certain other things you just eat unhealthy. And the issue with all these things is the frequency with it. Like when people have soft drinks, they often give their kids to have soft drink once a week. People usually don't have soft drinks every day. But with these health drinks, people are having it twice a day. People are having ketchup also multiple times a day. And they're marketing it themselves. I had made one video which I've not posted yet. I'm not sure whether or not I'll post. But it was how like the ketchup brands are also trying to get you to put ketchup in your sabzis. In your aloo ka sabzi also they're asking you to put ketchup. They're asking you to put ketchup in your roti. And to put ketchup in your school tiffin. So these sort of things, people are having ketchup not like a snack once in a while. They're having it 4-5 times in a day, and that's like the issue.
You know, that's also a case with a particular taste enhancer. I see a lot of people earlier that taste enhancer, Chirag, it came with just this pack of noodles. It's very popular. This so-called taste enhancer. Now I've seen a lot of people use this taste enhancer in the regular sabzis also that we are making. Chirag.
So yeah, Sneha, as per the evidence, that taste enhancer is completely safe for you, as per the current evidence. But again, it depends on the quantities. If you are adding it daily to your veggies, and plus then you are having noodles and etc. other things, and you are having that famous momos outside the street, where they use this enhancer in the chutney the most, then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
I have one comment to make is that just because something is safe for you does not mean it is healthy for you.
Yeah, it's never about unhealthy or healthy. Some things are safe, and then it depends on the quantities, if it's healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah. Like, for example, Coke is safe for you. Like, you're not going to die if you have Coke, but it's unhealthy. And that is the point. Like, a lot of people message me also recently, like, oh, but this ingredient is labeled safe by this institution. Yes, it's safe, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. That's like the distinction which people should be aware of.
You know, Dr. Gupta, where can the government step in all of this when it comes to processed food? First of all, the labeling of processed food is like a big fight. It's a tall order, because the government has been dragging its feet. The FSSAI has been dragging its feet on labeling of food items, is all that we know about. But what about actually looking into these ingredients and excessive sugar, excessive salt? What are the preservatives that are used? Permitted additives that are used in food products. So where can the line be drawn, given that we are staring at an epidemic, I believe, of lifestyle diseases?
So I think this is a very important question you're asking in terms of, and I would consider this is a very big opportunity for the government to showcase what they're doing for control of non-communicable diseases, which begin with the overconsumption of unhealthy foods and obesity, and leading on to diabetes and other stuff. So there is a serious issue here on food labeling. The government in the draft has proposed putting stars on the labels, which we disagree completely. Neither it is scientific nor it is helpful. So we are saying that if the food is higher than 10% food product, I mean to say, I'm talking about the pre-packaged food product, which are there in the regulation, defined a packet which content of which can only be changed by tempering the packet. That is the point in question. If that product is higher than 10% in sugar, total sugar, and 10% in saturated fat, and 1 milligram per kilocalorie, if for example per 100 gram is 400 calories, if it is more than 400 milligram of sodium, it is unhealthy, should be declared right up front on the label itself. Okay. And I will add a word to it, which the British Medical Journal recommended. If it is ultra-processed food, we have recommended to FSSAI in writing also, made presentations to them also, that identify these foods as ultra-processed. Write a U, like you write a fortified food, you write F+. So write U something in a bold and educate people that ultra-processed food is unhealthy. So this definition is very important to define. If it cannot be done this way, then the government can define what is a healthy food, right? There is a process how to define a food to be healthy.
And also encourage healthy food. For example, and we're really running short of time, but I just want to say the push that has come from this government for millets, for example, I think that is a beautiful example of how what is locally grown here can be embraced. And I think that's something that the government should be doing for other products as well. Haldi doodh, for example, why can't we go ahead and talk about the benefits of it? And it's a multi-pronged approach, in my opinion. Advertisements, celebrity endorsements, the government looking into it, encouraging local produce, awareness, schools talking about it, all of us talking about it, health influencers, journalists talking about it, media talking about it. I don't think there is any one thing that needs to be done. I think there are at least 20 things that need to be done in this direction. I'm going to thank all of you for joining us today, Chirag, Revant and Dr. Gupta, for connecting
Yeah.
with us and sharing your views with us on that very interesting and important topic of our times. Thank you, viewers, so much for connecting.
Thanks a lot.